The most important thing about these combined sentences questions is you need to understand what they're really asking, what your task is. Remember, we need to predict the question on the writing section and try to understand if our question is about ideas, grammar, or style. What is this? Well, first and foremost, this is going to be an ideas question. We know that because there's a literal question. That's how we identify most of the ideas questions. So we should read the choices. We should make sure that it's actually combining these ideas in a logical way. If they insert a contrast randomly, that's not good. Now, to be honest, all of these can kind of fit in the ideas, and they do seem to connect the ideas in a way that's at least a little bit logical. So that doesn't really help me that much here. And so that gets us to part 2 of these questions. If we have multiple choices that connect the ideas in a logical way, the next thing that we should think about is style, not grammar. We are not testing grammar on these. I've never seen one that tests grammar on the SAT, so that should not be in your brain. What should be in your brain is what is the best style. You should be assuming all of these choices are grammatically correct. And I think that's especially important when they introduce weird punctuation marks like the semicolon. However, that is not the answer here, mostly because a semicolon is not really a good way of combining sentences. It's basically just a period, so it's kind of like we didn't really combine the sentences at all. But in both the cases of A and B, we are breaking the SAT's #1 style rule, which is that we should keep the sentence short. These are much longer than they need to be, and they don't really add any meaningful ideas. They're just taking more words to get to the point, so that is not a good thing. Between C and D, they're obviously kind of the same length, but C is going to be the answer. It is a more straightforward way of saying this. Hopefully you can hear that. That's kind of what we need to do when we have a style question, is just listen for what sounds best, and it is a little bit more direct. Warner collects testimony from eyewitnesses in order to analyze the event from multiple perspectives. It's just a little bit more clear than for the analysis of. This might be what sometimes is considered like the passive voice. It's not a great way to say things. And so hopefully you can hear that, but at the very least you need to get it down to C and D using both the ideas rules and the style rules on the SAT. Make sure for these combined sentences questions you are not thinking about grammar unless for some reason they insert a weird quirky one, but in all my years teaching the SAT, these have always been about ideas and style, not grammar.